Welcome back to this channel where we talk about life after stroke and living with invisible disabilities. My name is Esther and I am a caregiver to my husband Joshua, who suffered an ischemic stroke in 2023. He is now left with aphasia, a communication disability, cognitive deficits, and right-sided weakness. For the past year and a half on this stroke recovery journey, we have experienced so many different emotions, ranging from sadness to grief to anger to despair, confusion and doubt and fear. We also experienced positive emotions such as joy and gratitude and excitement. But the one emotion that we haven't really experienced, but we are right now, is disappointment. And right now we are in that season of disappointment. 1 month ago, my husband experienced his very first and hopefully his very last seizure. We had an MRI and an EEG, and we finally had an appointment with our neurologist. And they believe that the cause is scar tissue from the damage to the brain. Now, disappointment is a tricky emotion because it's not as obvious, such as the other emotions like anger or sadness. So it might be difficult to identify and difficult to notice. And it kind of just sneaks in there. And once it sneaks in there, it tends to linger. It doesn't like to leave you alone. It's like this dark cloud or this heavy weight, like those weighted blankets over you, and it just pushes you down. Now, sometimes we get disappointed over little things, such as I'm disappointed the movie wasn't as good as I expected it to be, or, this meal wasn't as good as I expected it to be. And we get over it and we move on. But when you feel disappointment in the middle of your recovery journey, it's difficult to move on and it's difficult to just get over it. And I wonder if this is something that we're supposed to just get over, or is this something that we're just supposed to ride the wave and just push through? I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out because this is the first time we've experienced this level of disappointment in our stroke recovery journey. When my husband first came home from the hospital, it was very difficult for him to walk just 10-15 minutes. And in his mind, he wanted to walk farther, he wanted to walk faster, but his body just couldn't keep up. But he didn't give up. Every single day he went out there and he just hit the pavement. And soon 1 kilometer became 3 kilometers. And then 3 kilometers became 5 kilometers, and then 9 kilometers, and then 10 kilometers was his ultimate goal, to be able to walk. And once he hit that 10-kilometer goal, well, what else was there to do but run? Now, prior to his stroke, my husband never enjoyed running. He enjoys sports, but running was not his thing. But he just started to pick it up after his stroke, and now running became his new hobby, his passion, his joy, and to run 10 kilometers was his goal. And he had signed up for the Vancouver Sun Run to run the 10 kilometers in April. But he kept training, and much earlier than April, so around January, he had already reached his goal of being able to run 10 kilometers. And he didn't want to wait until April, so he found another 10K run in February, so the next month. It was here in Fort Langley, and he signed up for it because he wanted to just run in a race, and he didn't want to wait until April. So he was really excited about this, and it was set for February 16th. But what happened in Vancouver from the very beginning of February, it snowed, we had freezing temperatures for a couple of weeks, and what resulted was the trails were too unsafe for anyone to run that run in Fort Langley. And so they had to make the very difficult decision of canceling the run. What they did is they deferred the run so the runners could choose out of two other runs that were happening in March, and they could just transfer to that one. So, there was no loss. And he signed up for the Shamrock and Roll Run at Burnaby Lake. And that one was not 10 kilometers. It was actually an 11-kilometer run. And he had signed up for that, and we were hoping that the weather would be better and that his back would be stronger. So we were all good. And so now he was so excited for the Shamrock run. So his leprechaun name was Jovial Golden Smile. And again, we were so excited for that. But just a few weeks before that run, that's when my husband had his seizure. And that seizure was a huge setback, both physically and emotionally. And after that whole incident, he went out for a walk, and about 10 minutes later, he came back in just totally breathless and feeling pain in his chest. And it just took him, a few minutes just to gather himself. And so that was really hard for us to accept, because this stroke has taken away so much from him. It's taken away his, ability to drive. It's taken away his ability to work. And he loved his work. It's taken away his communication. And it kind of feels like, wow, this sucks. Like the stroke has taken away so much, and he has worked so hard to get that one good thing in his life, like that one thing that he's so excited and passionate about, which is running. And then boom, this seizure comes out of nowhere. It just pulls the rug right under our feet. And now he's back to square one, where he can't even walk 1 kilometer without feeling breathless. And it really sucks, for lack of a better word. It just sucks, and it's unfair. And I know that life is unfair, but it kind of makes you think, why bother? Why bother? Because in stroke recovery, we're always telling ourselves, consistency, frequency, relevance, all of this matters. Don't give up. This is a marathon. Keep going. You lose it, or what was it? You use it or you lose it. So we hear all these things, and we understand and we believe in these things as well, but you work so hard towards something, and then something just happens, like a seizure, and then you're back to square one. So we were really disappointed, and I know that my husband was the most disappointed of all, that he couldn't walk, he couldn't run, and definitely he wouldn't be able to do the Shamrock race in March. But our son, Justin, our only son, our middle child, he said, "Dad, I'm going to run this race. I'm going to run this race for you." And it just reminded me that even in this difficult season, this season of disappointment, that there is still so much goodness and blessing and favor on our family. And we are so, just so thankful. And even though Joshua couldn't run, this is the next best thing, to have his son run on his behalf and to run in his honor. So I want to leave you with some videos and photos that we took on that day. It was such a beautiful day. It did rain, but it didn't matter, because we were just so happy to be together. And Justin did great. It was an 11-kilometer run. His goal was to run it in an hour, but he came in much faster than that. I think it was 53 or 55 minutes. I can't remember, but he did so well. And this is just another core memory that will go down in our family legacy of memories. And if you are currently experiencing a season of disappointment, whether you're on a road to recovery or whether you have health issues or just anything that you're experiencing right now in life, just know that it is okay to be disappointed, because that is an emotion that we feel in response to the things that happen in our lives, whether we can control it or whether we can't control it. So there's no shame or embarrassment about this emotion, but also just remember that this will not last forever, that this is a season and there will be moments of joy and relief and just moments of goodness to help you push through that. So it may not be necessarily that you just get over, and I don't think that's the goal, to just get over your disappointment. But the goal is to push through that disappointment and come out on the other side. So thank you for listening. I hope you enjoy our videos and our photos, and we'll see you next time.